Hi there, today's date is the 19th of January 2022. My name's Chris and welcome to my channel, my pelvic pain journey. Today we've got something a little bit different. I've recently been reading a book called Beyond the Tapestry, My Discovery of God's Grace Amidst Chronic Pain and Loss. This is a book which is written by the author M. Rose Peluso. Beyond the Tapestry is a compelling true story told from behind convent walls of one woman struggles to make peace with a mysterious chronic illness and her unfulfilled dream of being a Catholic nun. Mary Ann was a 29-year-old graphic designer working towards a lifelong desire to move to Hollywood and become an Academy Award-winning art director. But an unexpected invitation to the Catholic prayer meeting would forever change Mary Ann's life, showing her desires she didn't know she possessed. Although she was somewhat content with her life at the time, surrounded by a group of loving Christian friends, an emptiness and longing in her heart emerged, until one spring day in 1996, when all of that changed as Mary Ann suddenly found herself unemployed. After spending a lot of time in prayer, Mary Ann embarked on a journey to discover God's will for her life. This quest eventually led Mary Ann to the convent, and the realisation that all she had ever really wanted was to devote herself to Jesus. But because of her lack of self-esteem and family issues, her initial time in the convent was suddenly cut short. The desire to give up on herself and her Catholic faith when she returned to her family and former career led Mary Ann right back into discernment and to the doorstep of yet another religious community. This time though, Mary Ann hoped and prayed things would be different. But she wasn't convinced. Plagued with mysterious physical pain and other odd symptoms that no doctor could explain, Mary Ann officially joined the Sisters anyway. The 18-month postulancy and 2-year novitiate introduced a whole cast of characters and relationships that changed her strength and stamina while simultaneously testing her faith. In spite of her ever-intensifying pain and anguish amid mounting questions about what was going on with her body, Mary Ann made it all the way to the profession of temporary vows. However, her life as a sister wasn't all that she'd hoped. After experiencing some religious and biological family tragedies, Sister Mary Ann believed she had reached the end of her resiliency and wondered if she could go on. As her health deteriorated without any help in sight, she did the only thing she could. She surrendered wholeheartedly to Jesus. But after already strained relationships with her superiors became even more fractured, Sister Mary Ann was forced to make a heart-wrenching decision that would not only impact her life, but the lives of those around her. She would remain in the convent and go on to take final vows or leave her religious life behind and take care of herself. In the end, Mary Ann chose to leave and receive the medical attention she needed. But this time, leaving the convent brought with it the knowledge that she could love and serve the Lord anywhere this side of heaven. So this was a book I've recently read, and it's approximately about 346 pages long. And Sister Mary Ann has literally struggled with pelvic pain, a condition that we all know, for 22 years. But obviously not everyone reading this is going to, be of a religious orientation. I'm not a Catholic, my father is, but I'm very spiritual. And even if you're not religious, you will get a lot out of this book, because it really shows one person's struggle in this place in a nunnery, faced with overwhelming suffering. And I think that sometimes all of us could do with some faith or spiritual guidance when you're suffering from something that no one understands. And recently I was watching the film, my son wanted to watch the film Ben-Hur, not seen it in a couple of years. Yes, in the film Ben-Hur, which I watched recently, which is about a Jewish prince that gets betrayed by his best friend, his brother, who's a superior in the Roman military, and he gets sent to the galleys as a slave, and he finds himself on the Roman consul's flagship, where conditions are terrible. Not many people survive. Some have been for only a few months as he rows the boat. And there's a scene where he gets a conversation with the Roman consul, who he later saves his life, and he actually says to the Roman consul, "I can't believe I've been kept alive these last 3 years for no reason."
If we are not, you will sink with this ship chained to your oar.
I cannot believe that God has let me live these 3 years to die chained to an oar.
It's a strange, stubborn faith you keep. To believe that existence has a purpose. A sane man would have learned to lose it long before this.
As you have. What drove it out of you?
And that struck a chord with me because it's been 3 years next month I got struck down with this terrible condition, potential neuralgia. And Sister Mary Ann has been suffering from potential neuralgia, pelvic pain, for 22 years. And back in those days, the internet was in its infancy. There wasn't as much resources as there is now. And that's not saying a lot because there's not a lot of resources now. This is a condition, unlike MS or Parkinson's or cancer, where you can get diagnosed and quickly, you can get a treatment plan set up. But this is a condition where you can have imaging and it shows no abnormalities. So you're just dismissed. It's in your head. It must be in the person's head, but it's not in the head. And you can really see the suffering that Sister Mary Ann goes through. Obviously, it took 7 years to be diagnosed with potential neuralgia. And even if you're not religious, there is times in your life where you need spiritual guidance. You need something to keep you going, to keep you sane. And I think many people can take something from this book, that they're not the only ones suffering or have suffered from this condition. So I would highly recommend this book, because especially for those that, are suffering from this alone, because it does give hope that there is ways of managing this condition. And I'm grateful that she's written this book, because there's hardly any books out there from fellow sufferers that I'm aware of. This was the first one that I've come across, actually, as a book. And it was a joy to read. It's extremely well written. And I congratulate her. There was one instance in the book where I had to have a chuckle, because it mentioned her conflicts with Sister Rocca, and as anyone knows who's done DCT, dynamic contraction therapy, Rocca Castelloni, our Rocco, very similar to the struggles that Sister Mary Ann had with her sister Rocco, we had with our struggles with our Rocco, purely because he didn't really understand this condition. I understand he's now left DCT, and we wish him well. We wish him well, whatever he's now doing. But yeah, that was that brought a smile to my face. But on the serious side, please, I would highly recommend this book. In fact, I once I started reading it, I didn't put it down. I think I read it within a week. I've read this book. And even if for somebody that's not even got pelvic pain, maybe got a different type of pain, again, it's a worthwhile insight for someone that is suffering and trying to keep going with what they're doing in their day-to-day life. So yes, please, it's available from Amazon, and I believe a few other resources. I'll put the link below. So yeah, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next episode where I'll talk a little bit more about my 30-day carnivore trial. Thank you.